Alright, what is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD123 here, back again here on PlayStation Source, and we do have to break down, of course, all the info and all of the different editions of The Last of Us Part 1 remake for the PlayStation 5. It was announced yesterday at State of Play. You'll be seeing the trailer here in the background, but I also did a reaction to the actual trailer technically before it was announced. It was right before Summer Games Fest yesterday when it got leaked, and we did a little bit of a reaction there on the channel, which you can go check out right here on the VOD, and I'll link it up here in the top left hand corner or right hand corner of the screen in a little annotation. So we're going to go over all of the official details that we got here from the PlayStation blog and some quotes from Summer Games Fest with Neil Druckmann on stage, and we will have some comparison shots so that you can see, you know, how much of a difference we have here from the remake and the remaster back from 2014. But before we get into it, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on the video, as well as hit subscribe to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Starting off here, before we get into anything, I just want to mention this here because there was no really logical place to mention it, and I don't want to make a separate video about it as a whole. But they did announce on stage yesterday at Summer Games Fest that The Last of Us Part 2 has officially crossed 10 million units earlier this year. So sometime earlier in the year 2022, it crossed 10 million units sold for The Last of Us Part 2. Huge congrats to that, great milestone, and I can't wait to see how that number grows and evolves. And I think it will get a second bolstering because I do feel like they will be, you know, having a dedicated PS5 version of The Last of Us Part 2 on PlayStation 5. I do feel like that's in the works, whether it be just a regular patch, whether it be an upgrade fee, or however we get that. I do think that at some point we will get Part 2 officially on PS5 in the future. And yes, before you comment below, I know there is a 60 frames patch, right, that unlocks the frame rate on PlayStation 5. I mean, from more stuff like visuals, right? Even though, hey, The Last of Us Part 2 looks incredible. It looks incredible, right? Obviously on PlayStation 5. But I think they can push it just a little bit more and give us a fully refined PlayStation 5 version, maybe bring in the haptics and all that great stuff. I think that will be happening here in the future with Last of Us Part 2. But going into it here, here's what the blog had to say about The Last of Us Part 1 remake for PS5. The Last of Us was released almost a decade ago on the PlayStation 3 console and has left an indelible mark on our studio. Joel and Ellie's story continues to be powerfully evocative with players worldwide, and we're humbled these characters continue to leave an impression. With leaps in technology and hardware that allow us to push the limits of the visual fidelity and interactivity, we're thrilled to announce this complete remake of The Last of Us, releasing September 2nd, 2022 for the PlayStation 5 console and in development for PC. We've implemented modernized gameplay, improved controls, and expanded accessibility options in this single-player experience to allow even more individuals to enjoy the game. Effects, exploration, and combat have all been enhanced. Leveraging the PlayStation 5's powerful hardware, we've also implemented 3D audio, haptics, and adaptive triggers. Both returning fans and new players alike will have the opportunity to experience both The Last of Us Part 1 and its prequel story Left Behind in a whole new way. For this rebuild, Neil has passed the directorial baton to game director Matthew Gallahan and creative director Sean Eskai to bring this project to life. Matthew joined our studio a decade ago to work on The Last of Us and Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. He rose to lead systems designer on The Last of Us Part 2 and co-headed the charge for over 60 accessibility features. And Sean started as lead cinematic animator on The Last of Us and Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Sean would later go on to become the creative director on Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. With their deep creative and technical expertise with the series, they're the perfect fit to helm this project, and you'll be hearing even more about The Last of Us Part 1 from them soon. And so that was from the PlayStation blog. Once again, link below in the description if you want to check out that whole readout. But when Neil Druckmann was on stage with Jeff Keighley at Summer Games Fest, they talked a little bit more about the game itself, and we got a little more info about its development and all that great stuff. And that Naughty Dog was able to use the original mocap, animation, and information on the newer character models to reflect a closer representation of the original performances that Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson did for the first game way back in the early 2000s, or even, you know, before that, right? So whenever they were doing mocap, they were able to study the footage that they already had from those sessions way back when they were developing the first game on PS3, and were able to garner more information and use the original mocap data to create this newer version here with these newer character models that will show a lot more emotion and more of what they originally gave to their first presentations and performances as Joel and Ellie in the original game. Super cool to hear that, and they do confirm that this is rebuilt completely from the ground up. So in terms of, you know, the actual character models themselves, to the lighting, and there was even some shots that we'll see later on with the lighting and the overall environment as well. well. This is from the ground up a remake of this game. And they did go on to say also that the AI has been completely redone for the enemies, and a whole new combat system as well is in the original game. What I am presuming here is that this will be essentially Last of Us Part 2 gameplay in the Last of Us 1 game. That's really what I am expecting here, and I think that that is going to be insanely fun to play in the original Last of Us. So a lot of people have been questioning, you know, why did this game get remade? What's the point of this? Even I asked that as well early on when we heard these rumors and reports last year. But Neil Druckmann, you know, cites that, hey, this is because one of the reasons is that the show, the HBO series, as a reason for this remake, to give those players that have PS5s that check out the show but haven't played The Last of Us, that they'll be able to play it in a great modern way with fully utilizing the capabilities of the PS5, from the haptics, the triggers, 3D audio, to the 60 frames per second 4K. I'm assuming this will be having the accessibility features as well, and of course just overall looking much of a higher quality and much better with the processing power of the PS5. And so for me, honestly, you know what, that makes perfect sense, right? Like, I mean, if you gave someone The Last of Us Remastered, I'm sure they would still love it. I'm sure they would still enjoy it in the year 2022. But, you know, overall, I mean, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that's an early 2014 PlayStation 4 game. Let's just keep it real here, right? And, you know, of course, it did get a pro patch as well, so we got a little bit spruced up, right? But, you know, to really fully have it in the PS5 environment and for it to look as good as it does here, I'm excited for it. And before we get into the comparisons of this whole thing, Neil Druckmann wouldn't confirm what he's working on yet, with having different directors for both The Last of Us 1 Remake and The Last of Us Multiplayer, aka Factions 2. Also, by the way, I did a video yesterday to go check out that whole info about what we've learned about Last of Us Multiplayer, that like standalone multiplayer, Factions 2, whatever you want to call it. Did a video about that. Then we go check out that. I'll put a link up here in the top right hand corner. But Neil didn't say, or wouldn't say, what he was working on at Naughty Dog and what he's specifically directing, but he did confirm that he is working on something else within Naughty Dog. So in my mind, that could be The Last of Us Part 3, which is probably the safest bet, or my hope, honestly, my hope is a new IP. I'm really hoping that we have a new IP going on, and then we can have the, you know, team that is working on The Last of Us Part 1 remake maybe start working on Part 3 and everything, and, you know, maybe they're able to line something up here where you know, we're able to get that new IP first and then Last of Us Part 3. But, you know, who knows? It's probably gonna be Last of Us Part 3, but my hope is a new IP. So on screen now, I'll show you guys a bunch of different comparisons that they showed off during the actual Summer Games Fest presentation and on the blog itself. So these are also online for you to look at. I'm sure you've seen these before, but I just want to really highlight that, like, yo, all the people that were out there when this first leak saying that, oh, it looks like the remaster, I can't see the change. You know what? Honestly, I'm gonna say it. I think y'all need to, you know, get that sand out your eyes when you wake up. I think y'all need to, you know, wipe down your glasses, because this looks insane. I'm gonna say it. This looks insane. You know what I'm saying? Like the way these facial animations look right now in this game. And on top of that, we have another praise here from the principal environmental artist at Naughty Dog, Anthony Vaccaro, say this on Twitter, quote, "I love seeing all the original Last of Us and now Part 1 comparison shots. Fun fact, all the original cinematics in The Last of Us were pre-rendered and looked way better than any in-game gameplay. Wait till you see the side-by-sides of all the real-time in-game environments." That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about how good the character models look already in comparison to the pre-rendered stuff from the remaster, and then you couple that with just like the notion of what the in-game environments could potentially look like with all this graphical power of the PS5. Like, yo, I'm telling you, man, like, I think that this game is going to wow. I think this game is gonna look insane, right? Like, I'm fully convinced. I'm sipping the Kool-Aid right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's gonna look fantastic, and these comparison shots look great. Like, I'm just really like, there's a lot of people out there that are saying that this just doesn't look that different, and I just don't know what you're seeing, honestly. And like, honestly, you know what, I was saying this on Twitter too. Let me say one more thing too before I go into the actual additions. But I think that a lot of people forgot what The Last of Us Remastered looked like, right? I honestly feel that like a lot of y'all kind of forgot how different it looks from Last of Us Part 2 versus Part 1 now that we're seeing here with these comparisons. Like, I think a lot of people just forgot how it looked. I think y'all haven't played it in a while. Maybe I played it a few years back before The Last of Us Part 2, like right before it, and yeah, it looks night and day. and this looks night and day. So last up here, we're gonna go over all of the different pre-order options that you'll be having access to if you want to pre-order a specific edition of The Last of Us Part 1 here. So before we get into the actual nitty-gritty of each individual pre-order, what you will get if you pre-order at all, so any edition, so whether it's the standard edition, digital deluxe, or the Firefly edition, you will be receiving these following in-game items: bonus supplements to upgrade your skill set, and bonus weapon parts to upgrade your arsenal. So that's just standard stuff that you'll be able to upgrade in the game if you pre-order at all. So starting from the standard edition, just a regular one, you'll be getting Last of Us 1 Remake and Left Behind as well for $70. Just keep that in mind, $70 for the regular schmegular standard edition with Last of Us Remake and Left Behind. Next up here, oh, by the way, everything else will come with obviously the game and Left Behind. I'm not going to repeat that, okay? So the digital deluxe edition you'll be getting for $80, just $10 more, and you'll be getting access to this whole beautiful artwork here that will come with the following in-game items: increased crafting speed skill, increased healing speed skill, 9mm reload speed, increased upgrade, rifle clip capacity, increased upgrade, explosive arrows, gameplay modifier, a dither punk filter. What is that? A dither punk filter. Okay, speedrun mode. Interesting, speedrun mode. I like that. Okay, that's cool. And 6 weapon skins as well. And those 6 skins are shown here on the right hand side. You'll be getting 9mm pistol, a black and a gold type of skin. You'll be getting a shotgun, like oak and rubber tactical type of skin, and then you'll be getting a carbon black and arctic white for Ellie's bow as well. So super cool skins right there for the single player game. And yeah, that's all you'll be getting for the digital deluxe edition. That's probably what I'm going to go for, honestly. Probably going to get the digital deluxe edition. And then there is of course the Firefly edition, which will cost you $100 for the Firefly edition. And before I even say what's in it, let me just also put this Wario64 tweet that I saw yesterday. He's reporting that it's sold out. Now obviously these things restock and they make more of it, so it's not like they're like fully sold out forever, right? But for the time being, there's a good chance that it's probably sold out at this point, but I'm sure in the future there will be more inventory and stock for you to be able to buy this Firefly edition. And so this Firefly edition will be coming with a steelbook case with a full game, of course, and the prequel, like we said before, as well as what's interesting about this whole Firefly edition is that we'll be getting the 4 comic series with American Dreams. If you guys remember this, we actually covered all of these comics and read through them on Road to Part 2 with my boy Arachnite. So we actually went through all these comics. If you want to go check those out, but you can get these physical versions with the new cover art as well in this Firefly edition, with these beautiful new cover arts. I love how they look. It's very, very cool look to it. Very, you know, they all flow into each other in a very cool way. So you'll be getting that with the steel book, as well as everything that was mentioned before with the upgrades. You can see them on screen here. I already said it before, but you'll be getting pretty much everything that was in, well, not pretty much, everything that was in the digital deluxe edition and the standard edition, but just including the steel book case and the American Dreams comics as well. And so that is about it, guys. That's pretty much all the info we got about The Last of Us Part 1 Remake on PS5. Let me know down below in that comment section. Are you hyped for it? Are you gonna get it day one? Or are you gonna wait for a sale? Either way is cool, you know what I'm saying? Either way is fine, you know what I'm saying? Hey, use your money, spend your money how you want to, but trust me, you know what I'm saying? I'll be here day one streaming that joint for you all. You already know the vibes. But definitely go check out those links down below in the description as well. After you comment below, you can find our Twitter, our Discord, and the anchor link that you can listen to our long form content and podcast format. Those of course being the upcoming Road to Ragnarok and now of course Road to Part 1 podcast series dedicated to following the information, the conversation, and the speculation going into a new first party PlayStation release coming up with God of War Ragnarok, and of course now The Last of Us Part 1 Remake for PS5. Let me know if you enjoyed it, as well as hit subscribe to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you all for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.